Hello YouTube, Forrest here. I wanted to show you this bottom bracket because until I decided to work on it, I had never seen this style. I would call it a combination between a press fit and a square taper. Let me show you what I'm talking about. So this is the bottom bracket shell of the frame. I'm going to zoom out a little bit. Actually, I'm going to zoom out and tilt down here where I have the bottom bracket disassembled. Let me get into position here. Okay. So it's actually quite simple. It's made up of this spindle, which is somewhat proprietary, or it is proprietary. You can see it looks pretty much like a normal square taper. I'm trying to focus it for you. But it's got these shoulders, and then I'm not sure if the ring is supposed to be loose or not, but it's got these shoulders, and the bearings go right here. So this is the old bearing. It's kind of nasty, but you can see it just fits on like that. So you've got two bearings, and then the bearings themselves press into the bottom bracket shell on the frame, and they are held in with these retaining clips, which I think are just like a standard 35mm or something. So this is like a, normal retaining clip. You do need to have the real pliers, I think. I don't know how you do it without them. So I was lucky I happened to have these for another tool that I needed it for. And then the bearings, I think, long story short, I was able to buy them online from good old McMaster-Carr. If you haven't checked out their website and you're into tools and parts and building stuff and repairing stuff, it just cost you a couple hours. But anyway, so when I googled you probably can't see it, but it says I think 6003 on there, 6003 RS. RS means that it's sealed, and a 2RS means that it's sealed on both sides. So anyway, long story short, I was able to find the bearings. So my point is that this is the only proprietary thing. Otherwise, everything else is actually very standard, which is interesting. But obviously, this style did not last. Back to the retaining rings, you can see that the bottom bracket shell, let's see if I can get a good shot of it or not. It has a groove machined into it. Let me get right here. And that is what the that's what the retaining clip clips into. So you've got the inside of the bearings are held in place by the shoulders on that spindle, and then the outside of the bearing is held in place by a retaining clip on either side of the bottom bracket. So definitely a unique design. As far as getting it apart, I basically just I used a hammer and a piece of wood. That's why this piece of wood is here. But I took out the retaining clips and protected the end of the spindle with the piece of wood. I braced the frame and gave it a couple good hard clean whacks with my 16-ounce hammer, and the bearings came out. And it seems like they came out without any damage. So getting it apart was pretty easy. Getting it apart was easy. Getting the replacement parts was pretty easy. I lucked out and already had the one sort of weird tool, or I'd say kind of non-cycling tool, that you needed to work on this. So now the challenge is putting it back together, and you're going to get to watch. So that is this bottom bracket. I hope that was interesting for you. I'm now going to try to reinstall it. So far I have taken everything out and cleaned it, and I put a little frame saver in the frame since I had the bottom bracket out. Then I cleaned up the surface here to degrease it as much as possible, and I have the Loctite 603 retaining compound that I use on my modern press fit bottom brackets, and I assume that it's the right thing to use here as well. Alright, just getting that all around everywhere I can. I'll put it on the bearing as well. You know, I feel like I should get the other one on there too. I mean, what if I just started tapping here? Let's see. Okay, that seems alright so far. You know what, though? I am going to, if I can. Oh, yeah, let's see. If I do this, that'll kind of help to keep it square, right? You know, it's going to pop out the other side. I'm going to use the wood so that I don't damage anything. Oh, and I need to brace the other side. Okay. This is much easier. Let's see. I knew that was going to happen. Alright, I think that worked. So I just bolted the socket that was about the right diameter on. Now the weird thing about this design is there's not a whole lot for the inside of the bearing to hit to kind of stop it from going too far into the shell. I think as far as yeah, see it's definitely past right now. I think it's definitely past the recess for the retaining ring. So, just give the retaining ring a final wipe down, and then you'll see how these pliers work. Let me zoom out a little bit. So, it's good to make sure this is tight. This threads in, so you want to make sure it's tight. And then you can see it's got these pins. They go in the holes. Okay, and good idea to wear glasses, safety glasses, when you're doing this, since you can't see my face. You'll have to take my word for it when I say that I'm wearing them. There we go. Alright, that wasn't too bad. Okay, we're on the other side now. I gotta get my bearing, which fell on the ground. I have to make sure it's clean. Glad I had my gloves on this time. Okay. I'm gonna use the I'm gonna use the spindle to help line it up, and then keep knocking the camera. It's really cramped in here in case you can't tell. Okay, so this time I can't bolt it on. I liked being able to bolt it on because it helped keep everything lined up. And it's nice to have your bearing nice and aligned, but I don't have much of a choice, so I am just going to eyeball and try to keep it straight and keep it from going in cockeyed. It would be nice if yeah, I think we're okay. I still can't bolt, right? Nope. So I'm not hitting it very hard. You can see I don't even have the other side of the bike braced, so that tells you I'm really not hitting it very hard at all. Alright, so for the final tap, I'm just going to come around to this other side here so I can brace the frame with my leg here. Now, because this is the second side, I can hit it against the retaining clip because it'll hit the shoulder on the spindle and then push. This play is what I was trying to get rid of. This is probably why they don't do these bottom brackets anymore. So, anyway, I'm gonna give it a good... Ooh, that tightened it up. Sweet, that's what I wanted to get rid of, was that play. Okay, so once again, retaining clip pliers. I gotta reach around the camera here. I said reach around. And like I said, I do recommend you wear safety glasses when you're dealing with these clips because they are fairly powerful springs and they can let loose and fly off in weird directions when you're not expecting it. Tell you what, I will know if it's seated if I just squeeze it a little bit and I can turn it. So let's see. Yeah, see how I kind of was able to turn it? I think that. Yes, okay, now it's seated. Now it's definitely seated. And that's it. You know, as bottom bracket designs go, I actually kind of like this one. Here's a shot at the bike. Just give you an idea of the type of bike that it is. Oh, also these wheels are kind of cool. They have nice shiny Dior XT hubs. And then these are polished aluminum Araya rims. So it's a cool bike. I love this era. Probably from nostalgia more than anything else. But again, this was a unique bottom bracket. And I'm happy to report I think I did successfully service it. It feels good. There's no more play. Well, there's a tiny bit, but a lot less than there was. And it's nice and smooth. It was a little gritty before. So mission accomplished. Hopefully you found this interesting. Maybe you have one of these bottom brackets and this helped you to have the confidence and knowledge to service yours. Or maybe you're just a bike geek like me who nerds out on stuff like this.